In 2006, Muhammad Yunus's foundation, the Grameen Bank, received the Nobel Peace Prize for establishing the concept of microcredit and microlending to give small amounts of money to the impoverished people of the world and free them from cycles of debt and forced labor, essentially a soft form of slavery which continues to exist all around the globe today. Kiva.org is a manifestation of the functions of the principles of Muhammad Yunus's that Muhammad Yunus lays out in his book, Banker to the Poor. These are my thoughts and reflections upon Kiva after joining a month ago and becoming a lender to the poor. Let me explain how Kiva works. Kiva works with already existing microfinance institutions to provide loans to people who don't have access to well-established banking systems with competitive interest rates, and in general they lack collateral even if they did have access to these systems. Kiva.org is a non-profit organization, and all the money for the loans are dispersed directly to field partners, who then pass the money along to the stated recipients of the loans. The field partner is really the cornerstone of Kiva's operation, and they're the first people to deal with the loans and the final people to deal with the loans. They are on location, they know the borrowers personally, and develop relationships with these communities. First, the field partner packages loans for Kiva. They find people who want to borrow. They take a picture of them. They help them write their own story down and then post the requests on kiva.org. Lenders like myself then can browse and search loan requests to locate investment opportunities. The field partners establish the repayment scheduling and the interest rates and collect the monies from the loan recipients. They also keep the interest to cover operating expenses and return the principal balances to the lenders, who can reinvest their balance in a new venture or remove their support and go do something else with their capital. I established myself through my PayPal account as a Kiva lender and decided to put $75 into my Kiva account, which was enough to partially fund 3 different borrowers. I then used the Kiva Loan Finder to browse and select a couple of different possible groups or individuals to lend to. I wanted to focus on technology, food, and infrastructure. I also wanted to be geographically diverse. And Kiva gives you searchable options to make it very easy to find loans that fit your criteria. Let me tell you about the 3 individuals that I decided to lend to. So one of the gentlemen that I lent money to was Evariste Gakwandi from Rwanda, specifically Ginkongoro. He owns a quarrying and construction business, and he wants to expand, buying higher quality tools for quarrying. Evariste is 24 years old, and he's married, and he manages his own business. He employs 17 other Rwandans, which is good. It demonstrates that he is invested in his business, it demonstrates that he is dependable, and I feel assured that the benefit of this loan will go towards strengthening the community, which might be the most important thing in this world. So I gave him $25. He asked for $850. Myself and 29 other lenders funded him finally on November 27th of 2010, and he will pay that back to us over 9 months. And just recently, he made his first payment of $130, which is a 12% repayment of my initial investment, and all the other investors got their return as well. Evariste's field partner is Vision Finance Company, which has been operating in Rwanda since 1999 to alleviate poverty, and for the last 3 years they have been a Kiva partner. They currently have funded just over 2,000 entrepreneurs. They do have a 0% delinquency rate and a 0% default rate on their loans. So the statistics look good, and the cause is a noble and just one. The next loan that I made was to a Marvin Roberto, who is a farmer in Guataquiagua, El Salvador. Marvin grows coffee, vegetables, and other kinds of beans on his farm. And he intends to buy beans, a hose to irrigate with, and fertilizer for his crops. He is 42 years old, and he's been farming pretty much his entire life. He learned farming from his folks. He asked for $500, and 17 other lenders and myself found it to be a worthy cause. But now, preparing this report, I think about the quality of the fertilizer. The next time that I make a loan for an individual to buy fertilizer, I am going to ask what kind of fertilizer it is, or I would like assurance that it's non-environmentally detrimental. But currently all I can do is hope that Marvin spends his money well and treats his soil well. His field partner is Credito. They've been operating on Kiva for 6 months, have funded almost 500 entrepreneurs. Interests and fees are charged. Remember that it's the field partners that make the interest off of my principal balance. I will only get my principal $25 back, and I can reinvest that or I can remove it from Kiva. But the lenders make their operating costs on the interest. So at any rate, Padecom SM Credito has a pretty good portfolio with almost 500 Kiva entrepreneurs. Their total loans are almost $220,000, and this is all in El Salvador. Their delinquency rate is fairly low. They've got a 0% default rate. The reason I looked to El Salvador to invest was because I have a lot of coworkers who are Salvadoreños. As you may or may not be aware, El Salvador has been going through a lot of political turmoil. There was a coup d'etat in 1979, and then 12 years of civil war followed, ceasing finally in 1992, where a number of juntas were trying to grab power. Our CIA was funding certain juntas. A bunch of these guys that I work with fled during that time. Some were being sought by death squads, which is incomparable to anything I have experienced in my life. So I send my goodwill down to Central America, El Salvador. I hope that it gets better for the farmers down there. And I guess what I mean by that is I've benefited very much from available loans here in America with low interest rates, and I extend that opportunity to farmers in El Salvador. The third and final loan that I contributed to was to Jumanazar Bobomurodov, who works and lives in Kubadyon, which is in Tajikistan. He runs a small